Let's take another look at the region, and this time on the impact of the current trading environment on the regional economy here. And to guide us through that, I'm very pleased to welcome Capt. Mohamed Juma Al-Shamsi. He's chairman of the Abu Dhabi Terminals and executive vice president of the Abu Dhabi Ports Company. And he's been involved in it for over 14 years now in various capacities. His current position in ADPC involves participation in the business readiness program, waterway management design process for Khalifa Port, that crucial port you've been hearing a lot about, and other port facilities there. So let's hear from Captain Mohamed Juma Al-Shamsi.
Thank you, Jeremy. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I think by now we have a good idea of the world's problems and how have they affected global trade. So let me tell you how the position looks from here in the UAE and why I believe we and the Gulf in general have an important role for the future. As you know, we've already started operations at Khalifa Port, but we do so in a world that is very different to when we started out. We began planning for Khalifa Port in 2006, and back in those days, the world was a much happier place. Who knew there was a hammer blow just around the corner in the shape of the global financial crisis? Over the last 6 years, we have seen a dramatic change in the world's economy. And key to that, from a trade point of view, is the shift in fortunes from the developed world to the emerging economies. So here we are today in the Gulf with a brand new port, the Khalifa Port, which joins Jebel Ali in the UAE, plus a number of others across the Gulf. The question is, do all these ports make sense in the new world which we face? The answer, in my view, is yes, and yes again. Let me tell you why. First of all, let's look at how trading patterns and trading partners are changing. The forecast from Drewry is that container trade in the developed world will grow by 1 to 1.5 over the next few years. By contrast, container trade in emerging economies or emerging markets, and that includes the Middle East, will grow around 6 to 7%. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a dramatic shift in the geography of trade, and it will mean a dramatic shift in strategy from the shipping companies. They will simply have to focus on these fast-growing markets. Our view is that, from a strategic point of view, the UAE and the Gulf in the right location for this shift. Our ports can act as a bridge between the traditional high volumes, trade routes, and those that are expanding rapidly from a smaller base. We can, because of where we are, provide the link between Africa and Asia. Location is one thing, but there is also the key issue of capacity and the growing needs for hubs. As we know, hubs do not happen overnight. They need huge investment in time, in money, and in commitment. It also helps to have a stable environment. Yes, African ports will see a lot of activity over the coming years, but it may take some time before they have the facility to serve the new generation container ships and deep draft vessels. As we all know, shipping lines are using very large container ships on the main east-west trade lanes. They are doing this for greater economies of scale. And naturally, we will see this shifted to the new routes. It is here that UAE and the Gulf enjoy an advantage. We have been able to invest in the deep water ports that are needed to service these huge vessels. It may be, for instance, the motherships will need to ship containers to Africa through hubs in the UAE or elsewhere in the Gulf. But of course, it is not just about size. A major port also needs to be sophisticated and advanced. We do not live in an isolated world. We live in a world where connections are essential. And in this respect, the UAE has always been, and still is, ahead of the game. We are a focal point for a regional trade. We have invested heavily in a new infrastructure and the latest technologies. As a result, we have been able to develop our position as a logistic platform for a much wider region. From our hubs, we have links which connect out to other markets. And finally, there is the issue of integration, how ports connect with industrial zones and free zones. Ports in the UAE and the Gulf do not stand alone. They are being complemented by the development of logistics hubs. Jebel Ali port, for example, is surrounded by the Jebel Ali free zone. The Khalifa port is side by side with Kizad industrial zone. It means these two ports, plus their industrial and free zone, can provide a complete solutions to the shipping industry and trade. And they can, by the way, complement each other's. So let me just say in conclusion, yes, the world is changing. Yes, patterns of trade are changing. And yes, it might be a different world to when we started our projects. But in the UAE and the Gulf, we are in the right place with the right facilities to benefit from this and to play a bigger role in the new world. Indeed, I predict that over the next few years, the UAE will become a vital link in the chain which connects emerging and more established markets. And this will be important as the world seeks to climb out from the deepest financial crisis since the 1930s. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.